Systema is about health and healing. The more important is to see also how much control that person has over you to be able to make you how tension can hurt you. You create tension in your body, and you try to fall with tension. And you will quickly see that when you fall with tension, that it doesn't help you.
Systema isn't just about fighting. It's about self-discovery. It's about understanding the synergy of combat skill, having a strong spirit and a healthy body. The essence of Systema lies in its three components. The body, free of tension, is able to move with endurance and explosive potential. The spirit remains calm, free of anger and fear. The combat skill is precise, it's spontaneous, and it's diverse. Systema isn't merely a martial art, it's a way of life, and it aims for non-destruction, strengthening not just the body and the psyche, but also families and communities. So join us on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment, where we discuss practical tips on how Systema can help in releasing tension in the body in the form of self-sabotage, stress, anxiety, and negative thoughts on a day-to-day basis. Welcome to the world of Systema.
So I'm here at Systema HQ, guys. It's run by Vladimir Vasiliev, and I'm joined by one of the instructors here in Eric Torres. So the intention of this video for today really is about learning to release tension and any form of stress, anger, or depression, and the effects of it in your day-to-day life. Eric is going to provide a few tips to release and respond in better ways. And my first question for you, Eric, is, and thank you for joining me here today, really appreciate it. And my first question for you today is just to tell me a little bit about yourself, what your background is, and what you do as one of the instructors here at Systema HQ.
Well, my background was, before I came to Systema, I was doing other martial arts, wrestling and jiu-jitsu and a little bit of boxing. But then I discovered the Systema through my research. I was doing a degree in social work, and one of the topics I chose was martial arts and identity, and how martial arts forms your identity. And I wanted to find the most unique martial art, and Systema was discovered because it was considered the most unique, because it's the only martial art that teaches self-defense through relaxation. It was something that I had always understood, because I've always trained different martial arts. When I became better at martial arts, for instance, jiu-jitsu and wrestling, I could only do better when I relaxed. So when I met Vladimir, he taught me that you need to always be relaxed, and you need to start with breathing. So for me, this was the aha moment. The light bulb went into my head, and I realized this is the way to actually learn. So.
And we learn better when we're relaxed too, at the same time.
You only learn when you're relaxed. And usually martial arts, you do so many repetitive movements, 1,000 of this, 1,000 of that. But with Systema, you can equate it to like 20% of that, because you can breathe and you can master a movement very quickly, because you're breathing before the movement. So you're already creating, in a way, intelligence for your body. And this was something for me that was better than I ever discovered. So I joined Systema, and it's been since 2007. So ever since then, I've just been training Systema.
And what does Systema mean to you, and how do you carry around its principles in your day-to-day life?
Well, it means to be, for number one, a good person, because we try not to be tense in the way we do things. So we don't try to injure our partner or hit somebody with the ego, or to destroy the person. And we don't compete. So we try not to do this all outside of the school as well, because if I need to, for instance, do something to protect myself, it's not going to be to show anybody. I'm doing it to protect myself or my loved one. So I try to do this. I try just to honor the principle of breathing before you react, and breathing before you entertain a negative thought. And so it basically carries into the way you live. Systema.
And then could you share some insights into how stress impacts our own mental and physical well-being, especially in the context of self-sabotage or doubt or someone experiencing depression?
Yeah, well, aside from the work, was doing social work in school, so I was doing this as a job. So I do work with people who have mental health issues,
Right.
go in addictions. I was an addictions counselor. I have worked with the homeless population and many different areas. And stress is usually what I notice is people think they know how to manage stress, or even they know what stress is, but they don't really understand what it is because they don't look to analyze their body first. They take stress as a concept and as an idea and as a frame of thought, and that everything is from your thoughts or from what's happened.
Wow.
But it's more so what's carried in your body. That's something that not a lot of people understand, is that stress is carried in your body more deeper than in your mind.
Wow, that's deep. And that's actually really true, because before I even hit Systema, a lot of times I would understand what stress is, but I wouldn't have the tools to deal with it, even though you're trained mentally to deal with it, but at the same time, you're not accessing your body and noticing the tension in your body and how to release that. So that's really dope that you said that. And I noticed that you do have experience as a child protection worker. How have you witnessed stress manifest in individuals dealing with self-sabotaging tendencies or mental health challenges? Like, how have you seen that manifest?
Well, many different ways, because unfortunately there's lots of recidivism in it's human nature. Achieve something, for instance, if in life, and then go backwards. Sometimes you fail. Like a main example is people who deal with some kind of addiction, right? Or deal with anger, right? It's really difficult for many people to manage these sorts of things, and when they do make a progress and they make a mistake or they get down on themselves, this causes again them to go back and redo the things that they did before.
Wow.
That's why the job that we have continues, because of the fact that child abuse continues, and it doesn't change based on any race or color or culture. So basically it's just something that continues, but it's also because a lot of times it's carried in from childhood and the way it's taught and seen, and so it's almost inevitable that a lot of people just reenact what they've already seen or been used to seeing and experiencing as children. So usually it's difficult to remove this because it's something that is really ingrained in the body.
Right. And would you say, like, if you were saying it's hard to remove, so would you say, like, with Systema, would you be able to sort of breathe into that pattern and change it, or to respond in different ways?
I'll give you a very good example, actually, that I tried here with a student. A parent approached me and wanted to know if I can work with their son privately. And he has autism, and he was a little bit more mild in autism, not very verbal, but the challenge with him was that you couldn't make any physical contact with him. You couldn't really touch any part of his body, let alone squeeze or even guide him. So he's very, very anxious to any type of physical touch. So we started by just beginning to help him understand, what the room looks like. So we couldn't even bring him into the gym here. We had to just start from the front of the door. And slowly, we just focused on breathing, for instance. And this started to trigger his movement. And he started to forget about the anxiety. And so just to give you an example, that this is somebody who at one point didn't understand their body, but we got to a point where we got him into the gym, and we eventually started to create massage for him. And believe it or not, we used to even give him punches.
Really?
We used to give him punches. And there's a video the father recorded where we put him on a chair, he sits, and we actually push him from the chair, and he falls backwards and rolls.
Nice.
So it's a very indicative of the fact that what we did, like Systema, really changed something that was really ingrained in him. And that he was born with. Right? But we were able to change that.
And you can actually change that just through repetition and just slowly, because some people expect fast changes, but you can't really force changes. It happens naturally on its own. That's really dope. And could you elaborate a little bit about the concept of outperforming your stress before it escalates to harmful levels. Like, what strategies or techniques could individuals deploy to achieve that before stress becomes completely out of control and you spiral?
So very good question, because we all carry stress, and especially in situations where somebody's trying to provoke us, right? And provoke us maybe to fight or say something to us, or when we're driving and there's someone does some kind of move on the road. Already for us, it's hard not to react, right? It's natural even to react, right? But the more important is to see also how much control that person has over you to be able to make you react. So if you're able to already recognize that. By you reacting, you're already allowing control. So it's already a little bit of a problem, because it shows, right? So if you understand this, then a good way to start to develop prevention, I would say, is to just create tension in your body and relax. And you do this with like a pulse. So if you find the pulse in your heart, just by feeling it, you need to try to create the same type of tension as your heart, right? So that you stimulate your whole body, but as like a shock, that if you start to feel like you're anxious, you distract your body by creating tension. But when you learn to understand that you won't need as much, you can do it in a hidden way. For instance, you can create tension in your feet, right? And people usually don't see that, or you create a little bit of tension in your back and you relax. You create a little movement and you relax. But any type of movement or any little bit of tension and relaxation can already reduce this type of tension for your body, but it can also help to reduce anxiety.
Because you're coming back into your body, in a sense, like you're connecting with your body, rather than going into your thoughts and spiraling out of control. You're literally just, let me tense up and feel what's going on inside the body. That makes sense. Thank you for that. And for individuals struggling with self-sabotaging thoughts or feelings of doubt, how can they use physical movements and exercises to interrupt the patterns and regain control? And I know we talked about it in a previous episode. We were demonstrating some things, but maybe just a slight recap of that for the viewers just watching this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're dealing with stress and you're trying to remove stress, of course it's good to do exercise, because you're removing something. But it's good to sweat, right? It's good to sweat because sweat helps to remove any excess tension, but also like fear in the body, right? And if you have, for instance, a wall, when you test to see yourself how tension can hurt you, you create tension in your body, and you try to fall with tension, and you will quickly see that when you fall with tension, that it doesn't help you at all, right? But when you relax your whole body, you just try to relax your body, and you can use this also as a massage, right? Because if you want to remove tension, you can already use this as an opportunity to give your body shock, but at the same time, it's sends like a vibration through you. And when there's vibration through your body, then it's removing any thought, right? Because it's hard for you to think about what you're doing tomorrow if you're
when you're
shocking,
in shock,
right? And usually that happens to us is if we're in our thoughts, then somebody suddenly hits our body, you usually tense up because we're in our mind. So it's important to just keep the body relaxed, and you can do that just by checking. Right, if your arm falls this way, you go down with one leg, this way, or with your eyes closed, right? And you can do the same thing when you're on the ground, right? When you're on the ground, you can check and see if your arms are truly relaxed. You can drop your arms up, down, and then you do the same thing with your legs. You check and see if your body can really relax.
It's really
itself,
relaxed.
right?
That is fucking fantastic. And to add on to that too as well, like sometimes when you're going into the shower and say for instance you turn it on, and then if you're in your head too much and the cold hits you, it completely shocks you out of it and drops you right back into your body every single time. So that's something that's really dope, that to actually really test to see if your body is really fully relaxed. It's really getting yourself back into your body. I love that exercise. And you were mentioning body positions and exercises and breath holds to create and relieve stress. How do these techniques actually work? Like how can they be adapted for individuals with varying levels of fitness? So on the spectrum, if there's a person who doesn't work out to someone who is really fit, what kind of exercises could someone do who doesn't work out at all?
Well, for those who don't work out, they usually need to understand that their movement is already going to give them too much tension, so they usually just give up, because especially if they lift the weight, it's going to be hard already because they're not used to this.
Yeah.
So you need to first prepare your body, and again, you have to see if you can breathe. If you can, for instance, inhale 5 seconds and exhale 5 seconds,
right,
and your body is relaxed, then already you have achieved something. But if you can go 10, 20, 30 seconds on one inhale and 30 seconds on one exhale,
right,
then your body is already relaxed and enough to do something, right? So,
okay,
and then if you're able to do this, then you need to work within that parameter of breath. The longer your breath stretches, then you move within that breath.
Right.
And you try to see that if you're able to move within that one long breath, then you can start to create another movement. You lift your leg, or you start to lift the weight, right? Or you start to create tension, but you breathe very relaxed. So that way you don't create more tension for yourself. And slowly, you will see that you'll be able to adapt yourself better, and you'll be able to, for instance, run, but you run because your breathing is helping you run. You're not running because you're physically telling your body to run. You're first allowing your breath to push you forward, or bring you back. So it's your breathing that's helping you move. So contrary to when people are very healthy, because they're very healthy, they usually get away with not having to think about their breathing. So they can lift, and then get tired. So then they think about their breathing, and then they recover from this. So because they're healthy, they can do this. But in the long run, they're already creating something for their heart to work extra longer, right? So the body might look very nice and physical, but internally, this is the question, right? Because your heart is already not prepared, right? It's for the long term.
Right.
And I mean long term with aging, right? Systema is about health and healing, so we can do this as well, right? It's not, we of course it's for fighting, but what happens naturally to our body is we heal from our injuries because we're learning to move differently, without tension, and we're lifting objects or hitting without this tension.
Yeah. Wow, that's a really good answer. And then just to wrap things up, where can people find more information on if they wanted to check it out and they wanted to be a part of it and they wanted to join the movement?
Yeah, well, Systema Vasiliev. So Systema is on YouTube, it's on Patreon, it's on Facebook and Instagram. You can follow it on social media. And the main headquarters is here in Toronto, Canada. So we're fortunate enough, for those of us who live here, that this is originally where Systema first started, when it was brought here from Russia. So it's a huge center point for the world, because we have international students coming in regularly, and they come to learn from Vladimir, right? And so Toronto is the place to be for Systema, but online is always welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to demonstrate some exercises and to really give your perspective, and it was fantastic. I loved it, and I'm pretty sure someone's going to find great value from this. So Eric, thank you so much, brother. And for all of you out there watching, please join Systema. Come to Systema HQ. It's fantastic. I've learned so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay balanced.